Winter Haven, Florida. I'm Lane Dog Bowers, and this is a live video for you barefooters who want the secrets to long line back barefooting. And I always like to start by saying this could possibly be the best day ever, and the forecast for tomorrow is 1,000,006 times better. And I got a great quote. I want to show you guys a great book. This is my buddy. I don't know if you can see that clearly. I'll try and hold it up here. This is my buddy Joe Stump. He's a friend. He's a good friend of my buddy Dean Jackson's. His book Willing Warrior. This guy's amazing. He's just a great guy. And if you're in real estate, you definitely want to follow him online. It's Joe Stump, JoeStumph, or PF, I'm sorry, STUM as in Mary, PF as in Frank. And you definitely want to follow that guy. If you're in real estate, you definitely want to follow him if you want to be the best version of you can. And he's just an amazing guy. And he wrote this book about his own personal journey. I don't want to read you a quote in here. It's actually a quote from Martin Luther King, but it's I want to quote it because I found it because of his book. So I like to give credit where credit's due. And in his chapter, Fire in the Belly, he says, you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. And that's by Martin Luther King Jr. And I love that because you know what? It's the same thing in barefooting as in, like, I love CrossFit as well. We had a ridiculously difficult, hey there, Ryan, how you doing, buddy? We had a ridiculously difficult workout last night in CrossFit. And I know this isn't a CrossFit thing, but it has a lot to do with barefooting and with long line barefooting that I'm going to talk to you guys about. But we had this workout where, I don't know if any of you guys know what thrusters are, but thrusters is where you have to pick up a weight from the floor, put it on your shoulders, squat all the way below parallel, stand all the way up, and then lock it out overhead. And it's 100 thrusters for time with the weight of 135 pounds, which is ridiculous. The real killer of the whole thing is every minute on the minute, you had to do 5 burpees. So if you know what burpees are, but anyway, so it's a real mental game of how bad do you want it. I told my son Zane, who did it with me last night, that this is like eating an elephant. You cannot worry about how you could possibly eat an elephant. You just take one bite at a time. And my buddy Joe Stump is right. You can accomplish a lot of things in life if you don't worry about the whole staircase. You don't have to see the whole staircase, as Martin Luther King says, to take the next step. To quote another friend of mine, Jim Drowns, he told me, let's do something. What did he say? Let's do something even if it's wrong. And I used to hate that because I'd be like, no, let's stop, think about it a second. But now as I get older, I realize one of the most difficult things is starting. I encourage you guys to make a great goal. And if you guys out there are interested in long line backwards, I thought, what could I offer you guys right here, right now at my desk without being out in the boat and whatnot. So I wanted to, give you guys some value, give you guys some tips. And I want to tell you some things that you may know, you may not know, but these are tips that make the long line back deep so much easier, okay? When I think back to when I first did this, it was almost like mind-blowing how difficult it was. And when I tried it, it actually reminds me of a guy that, get out of here. Little bug, sorry about that. So it reminds me of a friend of mine. I don't even know if I should say his name, but when I first got started into barefooting, I didn't know much about barefooting. This guy was the legend in the Michigan area, and he could step out of a ski backwards. He was awesome. And he wanted to learn, he could step out of ski backwards, do a back 1 foot. Incredible. I mean, it was just awesome to watch, but he wanted to learn to do a back deep. So he'd have us pull him on the back deep, and every time he'd set his feet in, they'd get wishbone. Now realize, I'm just driving. I don't know what's going on at this time. I wish I knew what I knew now because I could have saved him a lot of trouble. But every time he set his feet in, they'd get wishbone. He was setting his feet in wrong, number one. Number two, the solution to every one of his falls and getting wishboned was to try it faster. Because if it's faster, maybe the water's harder, maybe your feet won't poke in. That, my friends, I want you to wipe out of your mind. If any of you guys are thinking of that, hey, Joey, hey, Alex, hey, Aubrey, hey, Molly, if any of you guys have ever thought of that way of thinking of long line backwards, I literally want you to wipe that out of your mind. So this guy, long story short, is before I ever took lessons from Mike Seipel, before I ever learned anything even about backwards barefooting from the varsity squad, let's call it, from Good Information, this guy, through these efforts, got caught so many times setting his feet in wrong that he ended up at age 35, I think it was, having a hip replacement. One time he was so beat up from doing this, and I feel bad because I wish I knew how to help him now. But what I'm doing is I want to give you guys this information, and even if there's people watching that aren't going to see this right now, this is going to be around for a long time. So I want to give you guys the information that'll keep you guys from getting hurt. But this guy ended up having a hip replacement. I remember the day he really got hurt. His feet got ripped apart hard. And we were literally at one point going over 30 to 35 miles an hour just to set his feet in. Imagine riding to that speed and setting your feet in if you don't know how to do it. Don't ever do that, okay? We literally ducked my friend. His name is Tom. I won't say his last name. He was a cement truck driver in Michigan. We took duct tape after he got dressed. He could barely get dressed. We duct taped his jeans together so his legs wouldn't split, because his hips and who knows what else got ripped apart so hard in that particular session over an accumulation of attempts that his legs, he couldn't hold them together. So we duct taped his pants, his jeans together so he could drive and not have his legs come apart. It sounds funny. I don't mean to laugh, but it's just like, oh my gosh, how stupid I was back then. So here's the tips that I want to save you guys. I want to make this short, but here's some tips that I want to give you right off the bat. Okay, number one, don't ever try setting your feet in the water at a speed greater than 12 miles an hour. 12 miles an hour max, probably 10 to 12. Now, if you're driving this for someone long line, if you can't see the plume out of your mirror, you're driving it, you got your mirror over here or up here, and you look and you can't see a plume coming between his legs, you're either going too slow and the water's streaming over his back. Don't worry, he's about to let go. He can't breathe, okay? He can only hold that for so long. Or if there's no plume because you're going too fast, he's going to start bouncing. He's going to fall anyway, all right? And you do not want someone to bounce. I'll give you some driving tips too. You want to kind of pull him firm to a speed. Forget about the speedo. It doesn't even register. You got to literally do this by feel and watch for that plume coming out. So if you're looking in your mirror, you're seeing this guy's legs back here and water's literally, coming out between his legs. That's what you want to see. And as he spreads his feet, or her, to set their feet in, that's when you can go, like, say, from 10 to 12 and not much faster than that. That'll keep you safe until you learn to get your feet in, get them set in the water. There's no reason to go past that. That way you're not going to get your groin ripped apart. That way you're not going to get hurt. You might get some water in your face. Your grip might get a little tired from trying it, but you're not going to get hurt. The other thing, now that I'm thinking about it, for guys out there, I highly recommend wearing a cup, okay? Don't be a hero. I don't need to go into too much of that, but, some guys say they don't need it. If you're not wearing padded shorts, I'd definitely wear a cup. But I'd wear padded shorts and a cup just because you're going to be a lot more comfortable. And you're basically planing on that part of the suit anyway until you get your feet in. So step number one, let's keep it 10 to 12 or a plume coming between your legs to make between the skier's legs as they're going to set. As they go to set their feet in, the most important thing you have to remember on the back deep is your feet is you have 1 foot on the rope and 1 foot off. Don't put both feet on. That'll make you bounce. That makes it hard on the driver to get the plume. Take 1 foot on the rope. You can have it over for a second, but as soon as you're out, starting to come out of the water, take it off like this. That allows the driver to see the plume. If you got both legs crossed over or your body's bent, your body should be straight as a board. Your arms should be completely relaxed. Do not be pulling in. Do not, remember I talked about the Cobra grip. Don't be doing that. Literally, arms relaxed, body straight as a board. You don't have to use a lot of energy for that. Just stay straight. And then as you come out of the water, 1 foot stays on, the other foot comes off. That allows the driver to find the speed, get to the plume. One way that helps because I'm more familiar with it, if I'm teaching someone who's nervous, let's say you're dealing with someone who might be a little claustrophobic or whatever, you want to get them their air pocket quickly. So I like to kind of pull them firm for that first or second 1 or 2 seconds just to make sure they get an air pocket, but I'm going to be at too fast of a speed. So I kind of go past and then drop down quickly. But in order to do that, you need to make sure that you tell the person, listen, leave your foot on the rope until, actually, probably the best thing to do is to count to 10. Literally tell the person on the rope. The temptation is most people try and get their feet off quick because they're thinking, I want to set them in before that stern roller hits me. Don't be in a rush because you're probably going to make a mistake as a beginner doing that. I recommend coordinate between the driver and the skier. Skier counts to 10, not by 5s, not by 2s. Count by 1. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5. This does 2 things. It allows the driver to get up to speed to get your air pocket. Now you, the skier, feels comfortable. It allows them to slow down, to take another 2 or 3, 4 seconds, find that plume, get it dialed in. And guess what the other magical surprise is? By waiting for 10 seconds, you just missed that stern roller. You might have gone over it, but with your foot on the rope, no big deal. Stern roller, not a problem anymore, okay? It just remind me, if some of you guys are using a boat that is not a barefoot boat, let's say you got a Mastercraft ProStar 190, 75 might be a little too rough. You might want to go, if you have a boat that's not specifically a barefoot boat, you probably want to go at 95 feet, okay? I'm just saying, and you're going to want a non-stretch rope. You're going to want a Spectra is the best. You could use a Poly E if it's really stretched out, or you could use a Spectra combo, but you want a non-stretch rope. You want a 15-inch handle. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Good barefoot suit, blah, blah, blah. All right, another huge tip. When I was telling the story about the guy who hurt himself, my buddy Tom, we were down low. I call it the low lawn instead of the pond. The low lawn is old school, what we used to do, a normal ski pylon in an inboard. We were using, I think, my barefoot nautique way back then. It might even have been a ski nautique. It probably was either a ski nautique of my buddies or my barefoot nautique. Either one. Well, a barefoot nautique, you could go at 75 feet, no problem. A nautique, a ski nautique, is nasty at 75 feet for learning this start. So you want to be at 95 feet. All right, you writing these down? I hope you are. If not, don't worry. Come back and whatever. But okay, now the second thing is down at a pylon level is 30. It's so much more difficult. Can it be done? Absolutely. That's the way I did it. If you want to make your life 30% easier on this start and 30% safer, go on a tower or an extended pylon. 30% easier. You want to make it 60% easier? Super fly high, 14 feet off the water, okay? Way easier, okay? You feel lighter, even on a back deep. You're like, well, how does that matter? You're only going 10 or 12 miles an hour when you're doing this. It matters. You feel lighter, trust me. I remember when Ron Scarpa and I used to teach, we'd literally have someone stand on the back of the boat on his V-Drive nautique, and we'd literally have someone walk. This isn't safe, so don't do this. This is not advice, but we used to do this, okay, in his ski school. We'd walk to the back, put the rope, which is a Poly E, on our shoulder, and literally press up to lift on that rope, because we knew that even though it was only going to lift the rope probably 2 or 3 feet, that was going to be way, way easier. It was brutal on the guy putting the rope on his shoulder because the rope's smacking you in the face and hitting your shoulder and rope burning you. And if he fell, then it knocked you all over the place. But it was entertaining to say the least. Okay, so definitely the higher you go, the easier it's going to be. Okay, now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Now we've got the basics out of the way, which probably a lot of you know, but maybe you didn't. Here's the key. Once you get your feet in the water, absolutely no more speed than 15 miles an hour if you're a beginner. If you've already gotten your feet in and you got a steady stream of arc of water coming off both feet, you'll be ready for this next stage. If you're not at that stage and you've now riding with your feet in the water but bouncing and kicking all over the place is not correct. You're not ready for the next stage. You need to ride. You take your feet out, go out just wider than shoulder width. You flex your ankles. It's kind of hard to show this way, but flex your ankle not straight down, off to the side. I've got videos that I've done in the boat that I can show you this, but your ankle is flexed. It's not toe lift, it's ankle flex, and you're sitting your instep of the foot in the water, okay? So it's very important that you learn that foot position. Your foot is going in at a 45, like this. If you're looking, you'd be looking from the boat at me. There's my feet going that way. My head would be going that way, obviously. And I'm setting them in like this. Do not set them like this. Do not set them like this. You want to set them at a 45. You're setting it on the instep of your foot, all of your instep, not on your ankle, not on your heel, okay? Once you get that in the water, you're flexing. You come off the water, you kind of point your toes, which is the wrong way. Flex your ankles into a 45. You need to practice that on dry land and before you ever roll over. And then you go wider than shoulder width, which would be somewhere like this, and set them in. If you don't want to get hurt, don't let the boat driver accelerate there because you haven't earned the badge for the next step. Set them in. Now you're past the stern roller because you've waited for 10. So you've got as smooth a water as you're going to get, okay? So you're going to set them in. As you set them in, you're picking your, let's just call it your cup, for lack of a better word, your crotch. You're going down on your chest, up with your butt. You're kind of leveraging. You were riding on chest and cup. Now we're riding on chest, and we're transitioning off cup onto your feet. So it's kind of like you're playing, if you're looking at it sideways, it's like this. You spread your feet. You can't push your feet in the water unless you pinch your butt out, kind of chest down, butt up, and that brings your feet onto the water in that flexed position. Once you get your feet in the water, you can go 2 or 3 miles an hour faster, no more than 15, because all the problems that we need to find out can be found at that stage, all right? So get your feet in the water. Your arms should be totally relaxed. Your cup or crotch should be off of the water, and you're riding on chest and feet. You are not trying to get up. If you can ride this with a steady stream coming off your feet for 5 seconds, you're now ready for one of the greatest secrets I can give you to getting up backwards. Almost like hunting in the zoo, easy if you get this next stage right. But it's critical. You're going to get hurt if you aren't showing a steady stream, an arc coming off your feet at that early stage, chest and feet, no more than 15 miles an hour. So, are you guys ready for the next massively easy cheaters version? Let's call it the back deep. Is what really hurts I remember doing this start, and my feet were in the water, and it literally felt like my groin was going to explode, okay? I don't want that for you guys. If you feel like your groin is in danger of getting torn, do not do this right then. Oh, by the way, I need to do a whole nother episode on this. You guys need to learn. One thing that we do in CrossFit that we hardly ever see anyone do this in barefooting. It's so important. Is if you're going to do this and you're not a preteen Swedish boy or girl, meaning super flexible young whippersnapper, and even if you are, but let's just say most of us aren't that age that are watching this, right? Or you'd be in school. If you're not that age, you need a sweat. You need a physical sweat going before you try this. If you come out in the cold of the first of the year and go out and try this and your groin cold, your body cold, you got a really good chance of getting hurt. You definitely want to warm up. And what I need to go into a whole separate thing. I'm not going to go into it now, but do yourself a favor. Get a sweat going before you attempt this. It's well worth it in the long term on your safety. Do it all the time, not just for this. All right, are we ready? We got our feet in the water. We've gone 15 miles an hour. Now, how do you get up without your groin exploding? And how do you hold it once you get up? Because a lot of people, what happens is, even if they do get their head off the water, it is so much strength that you have no idea how you're even going to survive it. The reason is that when people you're setting your feet in, my hand, I'm trying to keep my hands close so you guys can see them, because they'd actually be a little wider. So imagine wider than shoulder width. It'd be great. Don't go, if you're super flexible, like girls are really flexible, and occasionally guys are, don't go crazy wide. Go wider than shoulder width, but your feet have to be correct. All right, don't go wider than that, because you might get stuck at a position, I call it the Bambi position, where you literally can't get your feet together, okay? So here's the deal. You get your feet in. Now you're ready for the pickup. This needs to be coordinated with the driver as well. When you're ready to get up, there's a 3-second window of timing that you need to get right. You've ridden for 5 seconds. You're gliding on your chest and feet. Now you are more than anxious to get your head out of that turbulence and stuff. Getting up involves 2 moves at the same time. When you're ready to get up, what you want to do, and this is a cue to the driver, you want to bend over. You got to think of your hips as an angle. You want to now change the angle of your hips from this open position, and then in a 3-second window, this is very important. I'm going to say this, and you're going to forget it, or you're not going to do it. So it's probably something you should write down if you're serious, if this video is speaking to you. You want to go, you're ready to get up, and you're going to go 3, 2, 1, and you're going to bend until you hit a 90. That sounds simple, but it's not that easy. And a lot of you are going, I tried that. I can literally barely bend, and I have no more strength. I'm going to give you the secret to unlock how you can do it. But in order priorities, 3, 2, 1. That was a 3-second count of bending at your hips without stopping. The driver needs to cue. When your butt starts moving, the driver starts accelerating. Don't even worry about the speedo now. Just make sure that you do not accelerate over 25 miles an hour on that 3, 2, 1 window. So the butt, you've ridden for 5 seconds, you're gliding, and now whenever the skier's ready to get up, 3, 2, 1. It should be an obvious movement of your butt, and the boat driver's accelerating at 3, 2, 1 with you, not past you. If the driver accelerates before you start your 3, 2, 1, if they start accelerating really hard, you get stuck and it feels like ice. You can't get up. If the driver accelerates past the 3, 2, 1, he could pull you not only up, but all the way out the back. The catch point is landing at that magical 20, no more than 25 miles an hour, especially if you're on a tower super fly high. Even if you're down low, be careful about going past 28 miles an hour. Do not go over that down low, okay? So 3, 2, 1, the second part, and I'm saying this specifically this way because I want you guys to lock into this. Hey, Greg, good to see you, buddy. This is your deal. So hop in. This is the back deep. You can watch this later. So you got your butt, you got your glide. When you go 3, 2, 1, the real key to making that easy. So you're saying to yourself, I've tried to bend over. I physically can't. What's going to make bending over like 60, 70% easier is the next step that you do with your feet. So I told you there's 2 things you're going to do at the same time. You're going to go 3, 2, 1. The 3-second time is important. Your butt moves without stopping. You cannot stop. You do not want to go, stop, go again. The boat driver is going to be if you got a good boat driver, hopefully they're accelerating only while you're bending and stopping at 25 to 28, especially if you're in a tower super fly high. Don't go past that stage unless you already are accomplished and can go down the lake backwards. 3, 2, 1, and your feet, this is the key. Now, I've got my feet narrower so you can see them, but they're turned out to the side, okay, at a 45. This is the way you set them in, you know, way out here, but I'm trying to put them in the camera for you guys. So as your butt's going 3, 2, 1, your feet go 3, 2, 1. So basically every second you rotate them down a little more. Notice I didn't say bring them in more. As long as your feet are just wider than shoulder width, all you have to do is go 3, 2, 1 with your feet as your butt's going 3, 2, 1. It sounds simple, but what's happening here is by rotating your feet down, the amount of force in your feet by adding more foot into the water is literally going to push so hard that if you're bending at your hips, not pulling on your arms, not squeezing your legs, if you're at the right width, if you're crazy wide or you feel like you have to set your feet in super wide like this, then as you're bending up, you need to squeeze to just past shoulder width. But for most people who aren't super, super flexible, if you're a girl, a kid, on that 3 seconds, you probably need to squeeze in a little bit to get to just wider than shoulder width, but no more than that as you're doing 3, 2, 1. But don't get your feet closer than this. This is past shoulder. You see my shoulders. Let's see if I can square up to the camera. You see my shoulders, and my hands are outside my shoulders by at least 6, 8 inches outside the shoulders, and your feet are parallel now. If you can bend over it with the 3 seconds, rotate your feet at the same, you can't go boom like this, or there'll be so much pressure it'll launch you out the back or rip the handle out of your hands. If you don't bend over and turn your feet down, even worse, you just punch through the water and it makes no benefit. Also, if you push on your toes, that probably means you didn't do that first 5-second parts right of setting your feet in the water, getting them gliding. Go back to that. If you feel like you hit a massive roller, and hopefully your driver didn't drive you over one, but if you feel like you jumped out of the water, you pushed on your foot. It's what I call a gas pedal. I don't know if you can put my foot up here, but so you're literally, I don't know if that's going to show up, but you're literally pushing like a gas pedal in the water. That'll make your feet jump out of the water. You only have to do a little bit of it for them to jump out of the water. So that's the big ticket. 3, 2, 1 at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Feet stay outside. If you bring your feet in, you're not ready for that, because remember, you're in the middle of the wake. It's rougher in there. Also, another huge mistake for beginners at this stage, as soon as someone gets up, they want outside of that wake, and they're not even stable yet. If you need to get up in the wake, head up, shoulder roll, meat hook, keep it as a beginner, stay bent over like this. If you're more advanced and you can ride longer, come up to a normal good position while you're in the wake. What happens, I see a lot of people, they get up in this bent over position, their head's a little bit out of the water, their feet are turned out wide like Bambi, their groin's about to explode. Now they want to get out of the wake, so they literally like reach out as if they're going to grab the curl edge of the wake and pull themselves out. It doesn't happen. All that happens is your foot slides down, your leg gets pulled farther apart, and it's a yard sale. You don't want to do that. So the magic of today is what I want to impart to you guys to help you on your long line back deep. And if you guys have a question or something, throw it out there real quick and I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. A lot easier with a cup. Have wetsuit and shorts unless you're absolutely 100% totally comfortable. You'll glide better at the beginning. Get on a tower. If you can get on a super fly high, do it. Have a no stretch rope. Poly E is okay, but you're going to want Spectra. Make sure you got a 15-inch handle. A back toe, or not a back toe, a front toe for a big guy. Let's say you're 190 plus pounds. Easier to have a front toe handle to do this than a slalom handle. Why? Because they're both 15 inches. Because with a big dude whose hips might be this wide, your hands feel, ideally you need a wider handle. It'd be nice if we had an 18-inch handle for 200 plus pound guys, because that 15-inch handle feels too narrow. Oh, another great tip. This is old school, but if you have problems bending over and getting that and you're turning your feet down, take 1 or 2 fingers outside the handle. So instead of grabbing it and getting all 4 fingers or 5 fingers inside the thing, you can have 1 foot or 2 and then put these 2 on the outside, but you can still grip like that. And that'll give your arms a little more width, which will help you bend over a little more. It works if you're relaxed in your arms, okay? And what do we say? Tower, super fly high, way, way easier. Next thing, if you're not getting your 5-second glide, don't try the next part. Don't go past 15. Don't go past 12 miles an hour when you're setting your feet in. You want to go 10 to 12, looking for the plume, set your feet in. 12 to 15 could help them get set and glide a little better instead of staying at 12. 15 sometimes feels better, but if their feet jump and bounce, big problem. Also, for the beginners, leave your foot on the rope for 10 seconds. Coordinate with the driver so he can get you quick up to get your air pocket, come back down. A good driver can do that at the perfect amount of timing where you're past the stern roller. So now you don't have to worry about setting your feet and bouncing on the stern roller. So those are my tips, guys. Hey, Enrico, good to see you, buddy. Those are my tips on the back deep. And if you guys have any questions, even if you can't get them in right here, it's no problem. Yep, I see you, Greg. Yep, I know you'll want to come back to this. But these are the tips I have. And at the end of this, if you're getting up backwards, do not go past 28 miles an hour top end speed if you're never gotten up and ridden for 15 seconds on a low lawn, on a regular ski pylon, which is brutal. It's almost worth not doing this. Do it on a boom or with somebody who's got another boat. If you're going on a tower, which is almost like the low lawn nowadays, because we're all used to the super fly high who have done tournaments, but I know a lot of you guys aren't doing tournaments. But super fly high is just like air conditioning versus non-air conditioning. Super fly high is like rollerblading on perfectly smooth cement as opposed to cobblestone. So much easier. Get a super fly high. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to leave this here. And if you guys have any questions, you guys might want to come back and watch it. Hey, do me a favor. Please do me a favor. Like the video. Send me some comments. Leave me some comments. And please, please share this information with others. I want to keep doing it as long as, we're getting a really good response. A lot of people are sharing this and they're going all over. And I'm not asking or selling anything. I'm doing this I want to get out of my head as much information that I can help you guys. I'm planning on doing this 2 or 3 times every week. So anyway, that's it, you guys. God bless you, and we'll see you next time we do this. I'm planning on doing it on Thursday. If you guys have a topic you want me to cover, email me, leave me a comment on what you want, and I'll try and cover that. And so Thursday, I think, and Friday. So God bless you guys. Have a great day, and thanks, Aubrey, and we'll see you guys later.